Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Broken Controller, the podcast all about video games. The last time you heard from us, it's been about 2 years. We were in Saddlecast. Myself, Curtis Dash, we have Matt Atkins, and new to the bunch, we have Eric Miracle with us. Like I said, it's been about 2 years. We've reformed, regrouped. We're all doing different things now, and we decided to give this another shot. Now, Curtis, last time when we were doing the Saddlecast a few years ago, we were all Xbox 360 gamers.
Definitely.
Now we've had a new generation come out since then. What are you doing now? What are you playing?
A lot has changed. I think, like anybody else who was a 360 gamer, a heavy 360 gamer, a couple exceptions I'm sure you'll hear about here momentarily. But I jumped into the Xbox One blindfolded, hands tied behind my back. I was a big fan of it. Got really into that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But now that time has moved on a little bit, I have shifted my focus to PC gaming, heavily PC gaming, and
Good.
Better late than pregnant, right? And then I jumped into handheld gaming on the PS Vita, thanks to you, Kale. So that was really cool. I've been actually pretty digging that. Been a lot of fun. But yeah,
I've always said
a
that
heavy
Vita
PC
was.
gamer due to,
Always said the
Steam.
Vita was super underrated.
Absolutely.
Super underrated.
I agree.
Just lacking in that games department a little bit, but I love it. All right, then we have Matt Atkins. How you doing, buddy? Hey, girl.
What's going on, guys? What?
Hey, Matt, what have you been
That's
doing?
me.
'Cause you were doing 360 last time. What are you doing now?
Around the time the cast ended, actually up until now, I was a big 360 gamer, and I've sold and traded in, beat all my 360 games, got a pretty steep discount on my Xbox One, and I bought a whole whopping 3 games for it since it's come out. And recently I've joined the PC gaming group as well.
3 games. That's pretty much about half of the Xbox One's game library, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
a lot
good
of
ones.
decent ones out there. Nah, I wouldn't even go that far.
And then, last but not least, we have the very handsome and mysterious Eric Miracle.
Oh, thank you, sexy.
Hey, girl. So nobody really knows you. Well, our old viewers, anybody that paid attention to Saddlecast. So, what were you playing before? Because were you on 360 or PS3?
I actually, the last time I was on here, I did have a PC at the time, but I was also on PS3, and that was mostly because I really, really wanted to play The Last of Us.
So, are you still on that? You upgraded? You got a
No,
PS4?
it broke.
You on PC? Oh,
It
good.
broke. It broke.
Good.
I currently the only gaming console I own is a PC right now. So I'm solely PC Master Race right now.
Good. Praise Gaben.
Praise
be
Gabe.
unto him. Me, myself, I was very super heavy on 360. But, like you guys, I went full PC there for about a year, but just everybody else started getting PS4s, so I picked up a PS4, I've been gaming on that. I really like it. I love it. Anyway, we'll get in more to that. We'll talk about that stuff kind of next week, more of our favorite things about 2014. But this week is going to be our hatred of the year 2014 and how awful it was for video games. So, I think we're going to kind of go over pre-orders and how bullshit they are. They're getting out of hand. You're getting your exclusive games levels, stuff that you should be getting for free anyway when you buy $60 on the game. Then we'll be leading into a little bit about the hype, just how hype leads into disappointment itself when we talk about games like Destiny and to a little bit lesser extent Titanfall. And with that, we kind of will go into a little bit about how the games are being broken. Ubisoft with their Assassin's Creed games. And speaking of broken, does anybody remember Christmas? Of course you don't, because nobody was online that day because of the infamous DDoS attacks. I like to call it the Christmas Day Massacre, where it killed all of our dreams and hopes about getting on to play and getting away from our families for the holidays. And then if we have time, we'll start talking about a little bit about new gen remakes and how that's going for everybody, as well as the rebirth in horror genre. You know, we have the new PT trailer release last year, along with Outlast, very underrated horror game, I would think anyway, along with The Evil Within, and of course Alien Isolations. So, first of all, pre-orders. Are they bullshit?
I mean, yeah, I think they are to some extent, because they're not really. They're more for companies to gauge how well they're going to sell games rather than whether or not they're going to be able to make enough games. Because let's be honest, they have enough games. I haven't ever been to a pre-order launch event and been like, oh, whoops, we're all out of games. So I think they're just more of them to gauge sales really than anything.
Right. Especially when they're always trying to push the DLC pre-orders, or if a game is
Yeah.
only going to be digital only, why are you trying to get me to pre-order this? You're not gonna sell out.
Buy this from Best Buy exclusively and get this awesome wristwatch that your character can play with in the game.
For aesthetics only. But see, that's the thing. If a game was gonna just offer the aesthetics, maybe like new skins or a wristwatch or something that you could look at, is that okay even still for pre-orders? Because it's getting to the point now where if you pre-order from Best Buy or GameStop or Walmart or Target, everybody has different things that aren't aesthetics. Maybe they're different levels or different weapons or access to this or that. I mean, is any of it okay? I mean, what do you guys think?
All right, well, if I may, when it comes to it being, when you ask if it's okay, the thing I'm okay with is you have your, like, do you guys remember when Gears of War 2 came out for the 360? It was like a $70 limited edition, and that's what pre-orders to me were. You pre-ordered the limited edition copy of the game, and it was legitimately limited edition. So I paid $70 for a game that came with a steelbook and a limited edition art book. And that was really cool to me at the time, and I thought it was very neat. That, to me, is what I used to pay pre-orders for. So when I get an art book or something like that, or the special steel case, I think it's worth it. I only paid $10 more than the actual price of the game. That is what keeps it worth it to me. When you have things like, and I'm sure somebody else is going to mention this, and I hate to steal their thunder, but the $250 editions of games, I don't care if I can hold on to the thing or not. No, absolutely not. It's not worth it. I don't think anybody would think it's worth it, right? But yet people still buy it. I don't understand why.
When it comes to like exclusivity, that's fine. Like if you're getting if there's maybe like only 1,000 copies of a steel case game that's actually worth it, okay. But if you're pre-ordering crap for, you get a Best Buy polo that your character can wear in GTA 5, that's retarded.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like you guys are mixing up pre-order bonuses and limited edition content.
No, but I can see where you're coming from. You would think that, but at the same time, they used to be one and the same.
Correct.
I mean, I guess that is really where it got its start from, really, the pre-order nonsense.
The pre-order stuff came from, hey, remember when Halo 2 came out? And there was the limited edition Halo 2 back on the original Xbox. It was like an extra $10. You got, a steel case, a different manual or whatever. It was like in the form of the Covenant. You got that point of view. That is what you were paying for. And the fact that, hey, you were guaranteed the most important game of our time at the time. Now it's not that. It's not the same. Now a pre-order is, if you pre-order it, you're going to get the game, but I'm going to give you a DLC copy of a new gun, a different gun. It'll have a different skin. Like, it's that kind of stuff. That to me is like Kale. I think you mentioned previously, just based on sales, or I think that was Eric, but nonetheless.
Well, I think that's more like they're trying to get you to shop at their store, really. Because I'm
store related. No.
Well, store exclusive DLC is.
Yeah, store exclusive DLC is, but when you're trying to get me to pre-order the game, period.
Yeah, well, no, but I'm just saying, like, if Best Buy offers, you can get this whatever skin for your gun from only if you pre-order the game from Best Buy. That's store exclusive stuff, and that's them trying to get you to shop there.
Yeah, but everybody is doing that. So
I know.
But the thing, what I mean is, like, everyone is trying to get you to pre-order the game. Even the company itself is trying to get you to order it from them.
Well, I mean, it's from a marketing standpoint, it's a very good tool to gauge sales, and
tools will dive into it at this point.
Well, yeah, but it benefits them to do that because, in all honesty, then they know how many games they need to make or how many they can make, realistically speaking.
But all these different stores have their exclusive stuff that they try to get you to pre-order, but we all know that a year down the road when they come out with the Game of the Year edition or their Ultimate edition or whatever, it's all going to be included in that anyway, except now you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would agree with that for the most part. I think some skins and stuff are not, but for the most part everything else is.
Part of the thing about pre-orders is you never know if it's going to be good or not, because the way of the demo, I mean, we used to have demos for every game back in the day. I mean, you'd get to play it, and then before you even pre-order it, and you know if you're going to like it or not. Now, especially now that companies are heavily pushing the digital downloads, you don't know. And then once you pre-order the game, you can't get your refund back or anything. So, which leads us to our next topic, the hype for games. It seems that every big game that's coming out, or that has come out, that came out last year, that got all this hype, but just was a huge disappointment. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. The biggest one on the list, Destiny. I mean, almost everybody I know fell prey to this game, and I say it. Okay, I talk as if I hate the game. I don't hate the game. The game broke my heart. It did. I mean, we all played the crap out of that game. I mean, I put over 300 hours into it. Busted my ass beating, the Vault of Glass the very first week it was out. I had a rush to get to 30. And by rush, I mean that it took me weeks and weeks and weeks because of the goddamn RNGesus. But, I mean, it just fell flat because once you got to the end game, it was just the same grind over and over and over and over again, doing the same missions, having Dinklebot unlock the same doors. And I knew that little bastard, he knew what he was doing. I think he was trying to get you killed. That's my conspiracy theory, but I'll digress on that for now. And we also had Titanfall, which I played the beta of that. I was in it for the first 2 betas, and I had fun with it. I did for the first couple hours, and then it was just the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know. It just felt like it was very bare bones.
Well, Titanfall, I don't think a game like Titanfall should have been full retail value, like $60 game, personally.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Matt, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna agree with you here. Well, in theory.
I got my $60 worth out of Titanfall.
Really?
I'm pretty sure you guys got your $60 worth out of Halo on the multiplayer alone.
Well, okay. I mean, when I pay full price for a game, I expect there to be more than just multiplayer. And I know that I knew going into Titanfall that that's all it was, and I bought it at $60 because I wanted to play it because it's an awesome game. But I don't think necessarily that it should have been a $60 game, maybe $40 or something like that, and then DLC on top of that can be whatever, But it just seemed to me like it wasn't a full-fledged $60 title, I guess.
I won't disagree with you. Here's what I think. At release, you know what? You're probably kind of right, but they did release a couple of full free DLCs, and Matthew, you'll go ahead and I think back me up on this. That made it a full game, and it was like the stuff that they announced released for free definitely made that game a $60 price.
Are you talking about the little content packs and garbage like that? Because that's not really. I play the game a lot actually, so I didn't get anything for free that I'm aware of aside from symbols.
When's the last time you played the game?
Like a week ago maybe.
No, did you not notice Frontier Defense?
I only play attrition really.
See,
Yeah.
well, okay, and that's just, I mean, that goes into a different topic we'll get into. I'm thinking next week when it comes to the competitive gaming scene. We never really delved into it this week. We don't really have time for it. But
Yeah.
that's definitely another topic for another time. So that's actually very interesting, Eric. Good call.
All right, so another game that we had that released earlier in this year that had major hype around it, and it's something that everybody's wanted for years, and we finally get it, and the game fell short on so many different levels. Elder Scrolls Online. Anybody else play that?
Nope.
I played bits and pieces of that because of you, actually.
Loved it. Loved that game so much. And I noticed, everybody started falling off just more and more every day. Less people started playing. I mean, and I played that. I was sitting here at launch, had the game installed, ready to go at midnight. Well, 3 a.m. for me, anyway. As soon as I log on, the very first thing I see in the world chat is gold spammers. And it was like that for days and days. They have it
Jesus Christ.
already. At launch was gold spammers. It was awful.
God.
Awful. They have it under control now. But the thing that they still don't have under control is their end game. And I'm starting to notice this is a reoccurring thing for games, is their end game. Developers keep trying to make these huge MMO-type games, and it's like they only worry about the route there. They don't worry about that final destination when you get there and what you're going to do then. They just try to phone it in. It was very empty, and it just had you going back and redoing quests over and over from the different factions, and it was very, very unimaginative and not what I was expecting, and I quickly fell out of that.
I think it's very hard to make a game like an MMO engaging. I mean, it can be, but it's very hard to do well to where it draws the player in. Anything really like Titanfall and Destiny and things like that are massively multiplayer online games, very, very hard to try and get people to just want to play, unless you want to murder people, in which case Titanfall is awesome.
Yeah, Titanfall is really good. I mean, for that, just that twitchiness. It's very, I don't know, I did like the direction it was going. It was very unique with the robots and the mechs and all that. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was like a cross between Call of Duty and Mech Assault.
That's what, Mech Warrior,
one of the greatest.
stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Titanfall, I don't think really had that many problems as far.
No, I didn't have any problems.
I mean, sure, they had a few patches fixing stuff here and there. Nowhere near as broken as what Destiny was. And I guess I use the term broken loosely when it comes to Destiny. Just messed up. Destiny it took a lot of stuff to be able to fix it, and it's still not fixed. I mean, Bungie is way more worried about people cheesing the raid bosses than they are fixing the glitches and the problems. And I don't understand that.
Didn't they just release a patch not too long ago about to fix the loot drops? Because weren't the loot drops all messed up for some reason?
Oh yeah, that was one of the very first things that they addressed. Back when the game came out, you would get an engram or you get a purple engram, and you turn it in, and you would get a blue weapon.
Yeah.
Instead of a purple weapon. And people didn't like that.
Well, obviously.
So they fixed that right away, but other than that, they really haven't fixed a whole lot. I mean, we've had the problem when you die, you lose heavy weapon ammo, and it still happens. And the game has been out since September 9th, I think it came out, and it still happens. That stuff shouldn't happen. It's just becoming a problem when games are just being broken. Developers just don't care about that anymore, because I mean, it's not like, back in the day where we would come home with a Nintendo 64 game and it was good because they spent years and years making it because they didn't have a second chance to fix it. Now they'll ship a half-done game and it's okay, we'll patch in the rest of the games later. Which brings us to our next topic of broken games. What do you guys think about day one patches? I know that they are a bane amongst gamers. People hate them. There shouldn't be a reason for it. If your game doesn't work by the time it goes gold, then it shouldn't have gone gold at all.
Well, I think there are certain things that are acceptable as far as glitches and things in games. And a day one patch, I would rather have a day one patch than a broken game, but you shouldn't be shipping a broken game. And I think the prevalence of like online connectivity through consoles and PCs and things like that allow game companies to patch things day one has kind of made them. I don't want to say lazy, really, but just put it out there. We can fix it later, sort of thing, Yeah,
and that's what it's become. Especially when I come home from GameStop with my game and I put it in, and I've got a 25 gig patch to download, and the game's only been out for 3 hours. The biggest culprit, I think, overall has been, of course, Ubisoft with their Assassin's Creed game. I think that game was it was the most broken pile of game that came out this year. I mean, and Ubisoft just doesn't care. They've admitted that much, especially with PC. I mean, if you want to see some Ubisoft rage, go browse our PC Master Race over in Reddit, and they'll tell you all about it. What do you guys think, Curtis, Matt?
Well, when it comes to the broken games on Ubisoft's end, I get it, the games are broken, but it wouldn't matter what Ubisoft said, or even if they released some sort of golden game. You know how the internet is. And I'm going to go ahead and be the ballsy one here and just decide, when it comes to the internet, everybody is just one-sided. They're only going to see one side of everything. So, of course Reddit's going to bash it. Reddit jumps on one bandwagon and just goes.
That's what I love about Reddit. It's the website that expresses individuality with uniqueness.
Yeah,
there we go.
The Reddit is the website that wants you to be unique, and they want to see user-generated content. As long as that uniqueness goes along with how unique everybody else is. Everybody's in the same hive mind.
Well, then, that's the thing that's interesting is when it comes to that, as opposed to, and Matt, I don't know if you didn't play Watch Dogs, did you? But that really wasn't a broken game.
Well, it was just gimped, is all. It was gimped for PC, really, and that was.
Here's how much I care. I didn't play the PC version. I played the console version, and I was just fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's.
But you guys sit here and trash Ubisoft endlessly for destroying a PC version. Guess what? I don't care because I didn't play the PC version. Yet if I get on Reddit and say that, I'm the spawn of Satan.
But I think that's just something with knowing your audience. Is anybody on Reddit's going to be a PC gamer primarily. I would say
probably. But the thing is
it doesn't make anyone right. I will say, and that's the thing is, one of my other friends would agree with you, is that this is where PC gaming gets shot on, is that all the console ports over to or the PC ports from console have never been really all that great.
I would agree.
But I feel that you should care about that kind of stuff, because once a company just figures out that they can get away with it with one type of gamer, they're going to be able to do it to another type of gamer.
But why,
they're
why
going to
not
bring that
just
crap
do
over to
it
consoles.
Yeah, but why not just do it to the consoles? If you're already going to release a mediocre product on the PC, why not just release the same product on the Xbox One?
I think
And I
calling
feel-
Watch Dogs mediocre is a bit unfair.
Really?
wasn't a
Because
I
you
know.
haven't
I
read
thought it
nearly
was-
as much of the PC stuff as I have then, because that's I'm censoring myself when I call the PC version of that mediocre. If you want to
Yeah.
hear everyone else talk about it.
Well, I
That's
know, I
what
agree.
mean.
I know where you're coming from, but all they did was in the PC release, all they did was get rid of bloom and a couple other lighting effects, and I think the frame rate might have been gimped a little bit, but I'm not 100% on that. And there's a patch for it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But the problem is that patch before that existed. That means Ubisoft doesn't care about PC gamers.
Well, Ubisoft didn't release a
hates them.
patch. It's a user-made patch, yeah.
Hey, here's
Which
my-
I think is kind of
Exactly.
funny for Ubisoft's part. Like, hey, we don't have to do the work. We know the community will do it for us. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny, but
See, I don't know. All this trashing on Ubisoft, in a way, it's valid, but in another way, it's completely invalid. If you're a console gamer, do I really care if the PC gamers... Like, if I'm a strictly Xbox One gamer,
Yeah, that's
do I
the thing.
give a damn about the
And
PS4?
you guys-
No.
No, and you shouldn't.
they were probably
Why would you?
targeting the console gamers.
And that's the thing is, like, Ubisoft definitely, they lined up the sites and determined, hey, this is a console game. We're going to get the PC version done. It'll get done. And it sucks that it turned out the way it did. I wish they had the focus that we would love them to have on it. But it didn't. It was a bad port, sure. Well, it was a bad port. It was an okay
was a gimp
port,
port.
but everyone's going to make it seem like that Ubisoft is the devil and they never do anything right. Watch Dogs was a good game on the
No,
one. It was
I
a very
would
good
agree
game.
with that. It's this. They pick these little things out that make it like Ubisoft is deliberately being malicious, and I don't know that that's the case. I mean,
The internet mentality, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ubisoft has straight out come out and said it. They don't care about PC gamers.
well,
They
yeah,
said
but
it's-
they're almost exclusively console, though. I mean,
Argument.
then don't bother putting your game on PC.
Not true. Because
No.
if you can half port something, don't even tell me as a business executive. Let's just go ahead and talk business executives for a moment. If you're a CEO, and you can port a half game to the PC and make just as much money, and know the community's going to take care of it, you got to look at it from the business
But yeah,
standpoint.
why wouldn't
You're going
you?
to do it. You're going to do it.
Why
Blindfold.
wouldn't I? Because I mean, look at
No,
the reputation.
bullshit. No.
well,
Look at
okay,
the
well,
reputation.
reputation
matter.
aside,
No,
you're
you're
looking at your
gone.
bottom line. If you're a
You're fine.
buyer executive, you're
Step down.
looking at your bottom line more than whether or not people care about what you do. Your bottom line is more important. People are going to buy your games because you make them. That's all there is to it. They're going to buy.
I don't want to feel like I'm being made to buy anything.
Well, that's
That pisses
why
me off.
And you shouldn't, but that's what's going to happen.
You also don't own a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
When you do,
It's probably why I
different.
don't own one.
that's true.
That's why
I
I'm
mean,
sitting here doing a
standards kind of
podcast
suck
like I'm
sometimes,
doing.
right?
Right. To flip the spectrum here, we're sitting here talking about, what you need to care about what they're doing to PC gamers because then they can come out and they'll think that they can get away with it. Well, console gamers. All right, I'm going to take the game The Evil Within. Look at what Bethesda did. That game, it's a good game. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but it's getting a lot of flack because of the aspect ratio. Those huge ass black bars that are on the game. The PC community whined and bitched enough about it, and I mean that in a good way, PC gamers. I mean, you guys did a good job on that. You guys got Bethesda to release a patch to get rid of those, but they came out and said that they will not release a patch to do that on consoles.
Well, I think that
Because
was
they
more
know
of
they
a,
can get
like,
away with it.
artistic flair on the guy who made that game's part, because it's the same guy that did Resident Evil, right? The first
Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil
I think
4,
it's
that's right.
4,
That's why
yeah.
that game looks like Resident Evil 4. And
Right.
at first, when I saw it, I'm like, well, these graphics are kind of weird looking. I'm not really a fan of this. And then I realized it was the guy that did that, and he's trying to make it that same sort of art style that Resident Evil 4 is.
Right, and I get that. The art style isn't the problem. It's that aspect ratio.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm
get
saying.
it. Okay, and I get that was that developer's vision for it. That was his artistic direction. But just because it's an artistic direction doesn't automatically mean it's a good one. I mean,
no.
and that's why they had to put out a patch to get rid of
From
it.
a
for
creative
PC.
standpoint, though, if you have a vision for your product or for your whatever you're making, you want to make it the way you want to make it. Everybody else be damned, because this is your creative vision and this is what it's supposed to look like. So I can kind of get where he's coming from with that, but at the same time, maybe make it an option or something. Like you can change
Exactly. Yes, and it wouldn't have been too hard to put that in there. I mean,
don't think so,
it's-
no.
Yes, okay, I agree with you. Yes, it's his artistic baby. He wants to make it the way he wants, but you're also spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to make this. You need to make money off it. It's not always about what you want. It's about what the consumer wants.
Yes.
I mean, you're in a business. You're making a product. You're not painting pictures. It's not that kind of artist.
Well, you're arguing something that I think is a little bit of a blurry line, because video games I would consider more of a creative medium than a product, because especially when you're getting into games that are telling a story and trying to be a creative medium.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. I do.
And when you package a product, you're trying to make everything the same. Everything's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be likable, and everybody's got to like it, or it won't sell. But when you package like a movie or a piece of art or a comic book or anything, you do what you want, and if people like it, awesome. But it's your vision, it's your creative outlet, and that's what you want to do. I think there's kind of like that blurry line for video games as a creative medium and a product.
All right, so video games aren't the only thing that was been broken last year. If we all remember Christmas Day, when we all got our brand new games and our brand new systems and we tried to get online, you couldn't. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 was having, their Christmas presents that they were giving out, and I think that was the thing that people were most angry about. It wasn't that they couldn't get on to play, it was that they couldn't get on to get their damn Grand Theft Auto presents underneath the tree. Their stocking hat and throw snowballs at each other. But we all heard the Lizard Squad send out a...
Squad.
The Lizard Squad. It's so intimidating and mysterious. I love it. Not really. Anyway, so the Lizard Squad sent out a DDoS attack on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network.
They also did Steam.
No, they didn't.
They tried to. They tried
really hard. And it was down for like all of 6 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't think it was even down. They brought down one server, and then it just didn't even matter. There wasn't even enough.
Yeah. So like I said, no, they didn't. They tried. The little kids. Anyway, so Microsoft or Xbox Live wasn't down that long. I don't think it was down maybe like a half a day, maybe 7 hours, if that long. I don't know, but it wasn't that bad. But the big thing, Sony. Holy crap, dude! People couldn't get on for days. For days they couldn't get on. And that's fine. Stuff like this is going to happen. What I had the problem with was all of the bitching and all of the whining that these entitled little brats thought that they had, or Sony owes us a free month of PlayStation, or they owe us free games. And when Sony came out and said that they were going to repay us back for the 5 days it was down, I didn't even have 5 days of problems. I only had 1.5 to 2 days of problems. That still wasn't enough for people. It's like they wanted free games for this, or like a free month of only not being able to play for a day or two. I don't get why these people feel like they're so entitled to that.
Well, DDoS attacks are really hard to defend against. Do you guys know what they are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's basically just overloading the servers, and it's kind of hard to fight that really unless you have a lot of servers.
Explain it to the people that don't know what it is.
Okay, well.
Probably explain it better than I could.
Oh, I have a vague understanding. I'm no expert by any means. Let me preface that by saying, but basically they use like a botnet, which is a series of like interconnected routers. They use programs to do this and things that they can gain access to very easily, and they'll flood the service with DDoS attacks, which is a demand of service. And it's denial of service. There you go. Sorry.
Distributed denial of service.
Distributed denial of service. There you go. And it's just what it does is basically just overwhelms the servers to where they can't cope with the massive amounts of people who are trying to access the service at the same time.
Right, so
understand it.
So how do you guys think Sony handled it? Did they do all right when they came out and they're going to give everybody the free 5 days, and I think that was it. Just they're going to tack on 5 days, and like $10 or something like that on people's PSN accounts.
Well, they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to make up for anything more than what was lost, in my opinion.
And they didn't even have to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if you're wanting,
whoa, wait, what?
They didn't have to do that.
Yes, they did.
No, they did not. No, legally they did not have to do that.
I'm paying for a product, and your product, which is unsecure, and I understand it's very hard to defend against, but you got to think about from the consumer standpoint, which is a little.
It's not really that it's insecure.
It's hard to defend against. All right, I understand that. But as a consumer, most of your consumers, you literally just had to explain a DDoS, right?
Yeah.
So your average consumer is like, this is bullcrap. I can't get online. I'm going to go to Xbox. I get it. It doesn't make sense. But
I agree. But
my point is, yes, they had to do something. To say they didn't is
they had to save.
No. I mean legally. they didn't have
you
to
can't
do
even,
anything.
No, you can't bring legality into it because DDoS isn't legal. Like,
No, it is not.
No, it's not.
so you can't bring legality into this in the slightest. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I get
the
what he's
point
saying is
Sony did. They reprimanded people. They did, and people still bitched about it.
well, I don't think you should have to make up for anything more
Because
than
DDoS
what was
is
lost.
old. That's the problem. Everybody, you got to understand. Like,
It's
you
not
hear
even
about
old.
DDoS for when you're,
you know,
old.
I mean,
Okay,
well,
when I was a
it's
kid,
old, but it's like it's not like
don't even
it's
pretend it's not an old problem.
okay.
Let's
Yes,
go ahead and jump
it
that
is.
out there.
But it's
No.
not anything that's super complicated to do. If you and me and him and Matt and Kale wanted to do it, we could do it super easy. It's not hard.
You're absolutely right. But the thing is, everybody doesn't understand that while it's old, they think that, hey, this has been around for a while. Shouldn't we be able to defend against this by now? That's the logic to it. It might not be a logical way of thinking,
No,
but it
it's
does
not.
make sense logically as
Well,
backwards.
from someone who doesn't know what it is, or someone who doesn't, they just because these people tout themselves as being hackers, and they are not hackers.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm forking over the money and I'm just trying to play your video game, I don't care what a DDoS is. I don't care what a hedgehog is. I just want to play, man. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the problem as a consumer. So,
Well, from a consumer standpoint, yeah, I think that Sony did the right thing in like recouping basically their lost days of service.
absolutely.
But to expect anything more than that really is a bit greedy in my opinion.
I won't disagree. I'm not saying for a solitary second we should have gotten more. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, I'm
I
talking about the other
think
people
they
who
had
did
to do
complain.
something.
Yeah. Well, you gotta make yourself look good in the eyes of your customers, and if something goes wrong, regardless of whether or not it was your fault, it would behoove you to make up for it.
But do you think they did that? Do you think they did it? Like I think I was happy with that.
Absolutely.
I think it was $10. You got some sort of credit. Either a $5 or $10 credit in the PS Store, and then 5 days tacked on. I wasn't expecting them to do anything, and I was thrilled with that. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. All right, thanks, Sony.
They did the same thing a few years back when their whole service was hacked or whatever too, didn't they?
Yeah, but people got a hell of a lot more than that.
Well, yeah. Hey, people stole your credit card information. Sorry, here's a game.
People got like 2 or 3 games and then a month or 2 worth of PSN. But I thought it was great. What they gave us was fine, I thought. But apparently I was in the minority. You go on to any of the blogs that you saw that on, like on IGN or Joystick or Facebook or Reddit or anything, and read those articles. The comments on them were just toxic as hell.
Yeah, but
like
what happens
people.
when you get a bunch of idiots together?
Well, I mean, that's
throw that
the
out.
internet.
The
The internet
is a
has.
collection of idiots, really.
I mean, let's just cut this right down right now. I'm not saying we're the only people that can't. There are a lot of smart people on the internet. I don't want to take that away, but there are a lot.
This reminds me of a movie quote from Men in Black. It's like the one thing I remember from that movie, but from the very first time I ever saw it, that quote stuck with me for the rest of my life. Tommy Lee Jones says to Will Smith, he says, "A person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky, and stupid."
I will agree with that.
Definitely.
And that is the internet.
Words
the
of wisdom from Men in Black. We're going to start a new podcast. Words of wisdom from Men in Black.
They're working on it now. And here's the thing, is that ever since then, every week we have on the PS4, we've had, I think, maybe 3 or 4 days of maintenance where it's like 4 to 6 hour maintenance, with Sony trying to beef up their maintenance on their security system, for everything. And people still bitch about it.
Well, I mean, you have to maintain servers and you have to maintain your software. Steam does it. They do it. I think it's like, what is it, Tuesday nights or something like that? They're down for at least a little while every Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which one it is. But every online service has to have a period of maintenance. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah,
and
people don't
most of the time
understand
you
that.
have to take it down to do that. You can't just, expect it to be up constantly. It's very hard to maintain servers, to maintain hardware, and to maintain software invulnerability while having a constantly running service.
Right, and that's just one thing that people just don't understand.
Well,
it has to go down for maintenance at some point.
That's a fault with the consumer, really, and it's just a lack of understanding as far as like server maintenance and really they shouldn't really need to know this garbage, but it's enlighten yourself before you complain, I think.
Whatever, it's going to happen. Nothing anybody can do. No amount of bitching is going to be able to stop the maintenance.
If I bitch enough, it will.
Oh, but will your bitching, if you bitch enough, you might be able to stop the maintenance, but will you be able to stop remakes. HD remakes. We got HD remakes all of last gen for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. But then we're also getting HD remakes of the HD remakes that came out last year because they weren't really HD last year. They were 720p this year, but they're finally the 1080p.
That's HD.
Technically. But, I mean, we're getting HD remakes this gen of games that have been out a year. I think we get the Devil May Cry collector remake sometime in the next couple months, and that game has been out 2 years, 3 years maybe.
Well, they did a Last of Us HD remake, and that game had only been out for like 6 months.
I know, it was awful, and people still bought it. I mean, people that hadn't even beat it on the PS3 yet went out to go buy it for the PS4. I mean, what are your guys' stance on that?
I think maybe if there's been enough time and the game is good enough, then it's I wouldn't say necessary, but it's a nice little like nostalgia pick me up, I guess, for like I think they did an HD remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on something this year.
See, that was cool. I liked that because we haven't had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in how many years? Because it was a remake of the first one. But see, that was an actual remake, from the ground up, brand new engine, new graphics, everything. All these HD remakes, they're just reformatted in a 1080p. And the audio quality is up there a little bit. I mean, and that's it. But if I want nostalgia, I'm gonna go back and play Super Nintendo games and shit, not games that I've played within the last 6 months to 2 years that are all getting released. I don't know. I feel like that this was just their ploy in the beginning as to why they didn't incorporate backwards compatibility into the systems. They use the excuse, well, it keeps the price of the systems down. True, it does, but they're also going to make more money by being able to resell the same games they were just selling a couple of years ago.
Well, in their defense, it is hard to emulate the hardware architecture from the old systems onto the new systems because of the way that they were built for the CPU GPU thing was a whole different like system architecture than it is now. Now it's closer to like x86 and computer CPU architecture, and now before I forget what it's called. The PS3 was like cell something architecture. It was really weird and hard to work with, and a lot of developers didn't like it. It's harder to emulate, but it's not so hard as to where backwards compatibility would have been a huge issue, I think.
But that also left the doors open for the streaming services like PlayStation Now and the EA service on the Xbox One. And like I think, what did you say earlier before we started? Razer was doing one.
I'm pretty sure they're doing one because they just released a thing called Forge TV, and what it is it's a little TV box like a Nexus player, stuff like that, Apple TV or whatever, and you can connect it to your TV and stream games from your computer onto this thing, I believe over your Wi-Fi, and then play with a controller on your main living room computer. And they're releasing a service. I want to say Razer's doing one too. I might be wrong, but I know that Nvidia is doing one, and I believe somebody else is doing one too, and I can't remember who it is, but the Razer Forge TV is what I was really getting at.
Now, is this kind of like the Steam consoles that are coming out? Everybody's doing their own different Steam console? No. This is just a streaming service. Like a Roku box or something.
Kind of, yeah. It's got cell phone hardware inside of it. I think it's like a Snapdragon 805 and or an 801 and like a Adreno 430 GPU. So it's like an Android box for your TV.
Okay. So it's just strong enough to stream.
Yeah, you can stream from your PC over your Wi-Fi network onto this thing and play your games. And there's a little bit of delay involved. It's not super bad, and I think they're working on that, and it's not quite ready for prime time yet. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're playing like games that require you to be the lag to be down to nothing, like fighters and first-person shooters, online games, really.
I don't think that stuff. It doesn't sound too bad. I mean, because you don't need to make brand new HD remakes and resell them again in order you can just stream the whole original thing. I think Tuesday actually on the 20th we have Resident Evil, the very first Resident Evil. This is it's an HD remake of the original game.
It's an HD remake of the HD remake?
Well, no, it wasn't an HD remake. It's an HD remake of the remake.
Are you talking about the one for the GameCube one?
Yes, okay. Yes. Yeah, it was like back in 2002, 2003. They remade the original Resident Evil. Put it on the GameCube, and I admit the HD remake does look fantastic. I was watching I was going over like a screenshots or just looking at pictures of the other day, and I think it looks great. This one website had this little slider where you could like slide your finger on the picture, and it would show you the new versus the old. And I think it looks fantastic. In fact, I actually did pre-order that.
Oh, really?
Because if you pre-order it on PS4, you actually get the PS3 version as well.
Blasphemy.
And a dynamic theme, which I thought was like, I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy the game anyway, so I got it. Matt, I know you were. I don't know if you were excited for it, but I know you wanted to talk about that. The Resident Evil remake or remakes in general. I don't know. Are you excited for it, or were you pissed off about it?
Well, I really like the HD, the GameCube remake. I thought that was to me, that's still my gold standard of what a remake should be. In that it updated the graphics, and it was a phenomenal update. Because I mean, that would be hard to do with a PlayStation given today's capabilities. But they also added new gameplay elements, and they still maintained, I think, the character of the first one. And I still like to compare all these other remakes to that. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get this or not. I still haven't decided because I don't know if it's worth it to me yet. I'm very tempted by it. And the fact that I don't believe it's gonna be full price either is another alluring aspect of it.
Did they put in that sweet opening cinematic from the original?
That's what they should do.
I hope so.
Oh, that was so bad.
Open that door.
It was beautiful.
I think $20 for it though. I think that's.
That's what I'm saying. I think that $20 for just a graphical update over something that was made if it really was 2002. I think that's okay, given that it's a good game.
Here's the problem with your whole graphical update. It better be HD.
There we go.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the only reason I haven't jumped into this yet. It
better not be an HD remake. It better be a true graphical update, because guess what? You could take all $20 I was going to give you and burn it, because you ain't getting it.
Are they going to keep the camera angles? Because that was half of the horror of that game.
Exactly, and the controls.
Curtis, I think you're right.
It's got that old charm.
Curtis, I think you're right. I think we were using that term incorrectly. I don't think it's a graphical update. I think it's just it's a resolution.
A resolution remake.
Even then, it might be worth it to me still, but that's why I say I haven't committed to it yet. I think it's for $20 though. I think that's okay. It's a lot more alluring than a $40 price point for sure.
Well, Resident Evil 4 was released on Steam not too long ago with an HD remake.
Like released 100 times.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and throw that out there.
Well, that's true. But that is probably my favorite Resident Evil game. The controls are abysmal though on computer.
But graphical uphaul or just upscale in the resolution, whatever. $20 for one of the greatest survival horror games of all time, and I haven't played it in over a decade.
Yeah,
I think that's another thing for it.
The lure. The new generation of gamers, definitely. You're absolutely right, Kale. I'll give you 100% backing. The thing is as somebody who is, how many times? Let's think about it here. How many times have each of us beat the game? Probably at least 2 to 3 times apiece.
I'm sure I've done it more than that, to be honest with you.
I'm just trying to
once or twice.
Well, but you get my point.
Yeah, I know what it's about. It's about the experience and the nostalgia and anything, and I think.
Well, that's what they're trying to collect on. Really.
That's what they're banking on is definitely people trying to relive those experiences.
And that's true, but is my nostalgia worth $20? Now
that's the question. For some people, it's not going to be. I think
it's
personal. It's probably not. It is. It's definitely personal. I think it's very alluring though that at $20, they're definitely going to bring in a lot more people.
And even gamers that never got to play it,
a
couple games I think even to this day that I would probably pay full price for, even though I might have beat a million times. Final Fantasy VII would be one of them. I think we all have that one game where you would see it full price HD remake and be like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't care what you've done. I want it. I want full.
If they tomorrow they announce that they're going to re-release Goat Simulator. KOTOR.
I hate everything about yourself.
Both equally
Goat
great
Simulator
games.
2014 Game of the Year. Anyway.
I think Knights of the Old Republic is
one
of the only games that I've bought on every single platform that it's been out on. I love that game so much. I just saw last night that game is available on the Android Google Play for I have it.
$5. Is it good? How are the controls on that?
It's the controls are kind of meh. They're not terrible or anything, but they're a little more intuitive than I give them credit for. It's just kind of hard because you got to push really far forward to get the character to run on the screen, and on a smaller phone, it's a little meh. But on a tablet, it would probably be a little bit better. But as far as everything else goes, it's pretty phenomenal. The graphics are a little bit updated. They're not amazing or anything. You're talking about a phone here, but it's definitely worth it. I would think, especially for $5.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the new Resident Evil coming out, like I said before, it was is a staple in survival horror gaming. I don't think horror games would be where they are right now if it wasn't for those. We've been getting a lot of great horror games lately, with Aliens Isolation, which was amazing compared to the Colonial Marines. That travesty.
Well, that's kind of hard to not be better than that.
and then we had the indie hit Outlast that came out. Matt mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's, which is already getting its third game. And then
I think that might be a rumor, actually.
And then, of course, wait, really?
Yeah. There was an email posted on the Five Nights at Freddy's the forum, not the forum, the subreddit, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was doctored. It was some guy posted this email faking the guy that made it, I forget what his name is, his email and all this stuff talking about a new game, and on his site currently it says don't believe everything you hear, but it doesn't really say that he's not working on a third one. It just says don't believe everything you hear. So that rumor was definitely a rumor, but he may be working on a third one.
Well, that's sad. That makes me sad. But we saw that we had the
big
first
Five Nights at
ones.
Freddy's fan.
And then of course everybody pissed themselves playing the PT demo.
Yep.
I know I did. My God, I still cleaning up the mess because the game is awful. But I mean, these games are making a comeback because we had Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, and they just didn't feel horror. They just felt like really shitty co-op games.
Resident Evil 6 to me felt like a Call of Duty Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of that.
I mean, so what do you guys think, Curtis and Matt? I mean, do you guys think the horror genre is getting a revival here? I mean, is that a good thing?
Matthew, you go ahead and have at it. I got your back.
Well, it definitely
Me too. I love horror.
The one game that didn't get mentioned on here was the Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
I love that game.
Oh,
It's a very I just finished that today. It's a
I haven't
very
beat it yet, but I
unique
love it.
style of horror.
Well, it's like a point and click kind of.
Yeah, it's very point and click, and it's I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but I didn't know anything going into it, and I think that's the best way to go into this game. It's the atmosphere and graphically it's beautiful. It's short and it's it lacks a lot of action that most would probably appeal to most shooter favorites, but that's the whole thing of horror. So if you're a horror fan, you're gonna love that game. But between that and all the other ones you listed, I think it's becoming a big thing, especially with Twitch. I think is helping bring that around. Watching people play and then get the shit scared out of them, or just freaking out. It's kind of like its own movie, and it's definitely its own entertainment.
That's kind of how I gauge whether or not I want to buy a game. Is I'll watch somebody play it a little bit. And
that's what I love about Twitch is especially when not even just Twitch, but the gaming community in general, YouTube and all that, especially when they released the PT trailer. I mean, the internet was just collectively working together for days trying to figure out all the secret stuff and how to do this and how to do that, and we still don't even have it figured out. Nobody knows for sure how to do these things. I mean, and I think that's really cool, is that games like that are bringing more, instead of everybody bitching about who fucked whose mom on Xbox Live, it's, everyone is getting on and helping each other out, get through the games, and it's fun discovering that kind of stuff, when you first get into a game and a game first releases. And I'm really hoping that the Silent Hills is going to be like PT. From what I understand, PT, it was its own story. It really isn't going to have anything to do with the Silent Hills game at all, from what I understand. But I hope that the way that PT played is going to be a reflection of how Silent Hills is going to be.
Well, I'm sure all that stuff was like in-engine type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
PT was all in-game stuff.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I sorry. Well, okay, so here's about the whole, horror genre. You figure the FPS genre has probably dominated gaming since 08?
I would say, maybe even Halo-ish.
So you want to say since 04? Halo 2?
Yeah, I'd say Halo 2 kind of started that.
Yeah, because then COD was starting to get kind of big then, wasn't it?
In 2002, Call of Duty 2 came out.
PC, but it was mainly PC. We didn't
it was definitely PC.
I was going to say, the Xbox 360 didn't come out until like 05, 06.
No, but you still had Xbox Live and all that.
Yeah,
Call of Duty 2 was like a launch title for the 360 in like 2004, 2005.
Was it? I thought it came out in 2002.
On the PC, I think it came out early.
I mean, I'm thinking of Call of Duty,
but not
like
that
the original
early.
one.
So anyway, my point is, the whole concept of all of it is the horror genre has been kind of absent from all of our gaming lives for the
It's a tragedy.
Yes, exactly. For 5 years, I mean, we haven't had a good horror game since I think you mentioned it, Resident Evil 4. I think that was the last good. Oh my God, must-have game.
I don't know if Fear came out before then or not.
I think Fear, yeah, was
come
before
out
that.
around a little afterwards. It was a PC and 360 game, and Fear was damn good. Damn good.
Yeah.
And then they just got subsequently worse. Fear 2
Yeah,
I
Fear 2
liked.
was okay.
The 3 was weird.
3 was... I thought 3 was awful.
But the thing is you had a couple of good games every now and then, but now you can name, like, you guys were literally spinning off horror games that were so good.
I think a lot of them are Steam-based for the most part now. I mean, there's some that are on Xbox and things like that, but a lot of the really good ones have been computer games.
Yeah,
So,
like
That's
Outlast.
fine. It doesn't matter
Outlast
what they're
or,
on, whatever they're on. Outlast is not just a Steam game.
Amnesia is another one.
Amnesia, yeah, that was a good one.
Amnesia is another one. There's Damien, which is a really weird one. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. A lot of them really
Yeah,
good
because I can't...
exclusives.
I didn't even think last gen even had any good Silent Hill games. We had Silent Hill Homecoming
There hasn't
and
been a good Silent Hill game since what?
3.
2002?
Silent Hill 3.
So,
3.
like, let's just go
Before
ahead-
we had The
no,
Room.
I think we can all
The Room.
agree, like, the thing
I
with
like
the horror
three.
genre is it's definitely making the comeback that it deserves. We
Yeah, I
definitely
agree.
deserve. I mean, we had like Resident Evil 5, which was Resident Evil 6, which is And
Yeah.
like, these are things you see a Resident Evil game, and we expect that kind of stuff to it. You expect an Outlast quality, and I shouldn't even compare it to Outlast because Resident Evil 1 was the Outlast of its generation.
Well, I mean, Resident Evil's always been a little more run and gun than like hide from stuff. Though.
No. I will fight you to the death.
Well,
any game that starts you with a gun
1998,
expects you to shoot
7,
things.
But no way.
Yeah, but
if
that
you
gun
guys
doesn't really
wanna
work.
fight- if
That's
you guys
true.
wanna Fight, we can set up a ring. I'll get some mud.
Cat fight.
So some Jello, pudding,
Ooh.
whatever, because that is all we have for today for this week's podcast. So please join us next week, and we thank you very, very much for joining us this week for our very first Broken Controller podcast. Next week, we're talking about what we want to go over. We want to talk more about games that we are looking forward to seeing or what we want to see, either sequels that have been announced that we're excited for or something that hasn't even been announced, probably won't ever get announced, like Banjo-Kazooie 3, a true Banjo-Kazooie 3. We're going to talk about more who the hell wrote wacky, waving, inflatable, arm-flailing tube bands on the damn dot. We could talk about that. I'm fine with that. I know we're also going to talk a little bit about the competitive gaming scene and where that's going, because I hear that they want to start putting that stuff into the Olympics, which I think is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But
Are you serious? Is that for real?
Yeah, that is for real. That is for real. Like, they were debating on whether or not esports.
Can you see those
are
like
actual
fat,
sports.
sweaty nerds in like Olympic uniforms?
Sitting there like a little onesie, sitting there getting all super
I mean, I
serious.
know
and
not
Call of
all of
Duty.
them are fat, sweaty nerds, but like that's what I picture.
So this week we focused more on how much we hated 2014, but next week we kind of want to get in a little bit more about a lot of what we liked in 2014 and what we want to see in 2015 and moving forward. So thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll have a YouTube channel and we're going to try and get a Twitter page and a Facebook page up at some point. We'll let you all know when we do. So I thank you guys very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.